Hello, welcome back to Village Matchday. I'm Asa Raymond. Well, Canada's World Cup run is officially over. A 3-0 loss to Morocco brings an end to a tournament that I don't think anyone in this country will ever forget. Honestly, don't let the final score fool you. Morocco deserved to go through. They're one of the best teams in this World Cup, but this wasn't a World Cup Canada should walk away from disappointed. It was one they should walk away from proud. Yes, 2 wins, a draw, the first men's World Cup victory, the first trip to the knockout stage, and maybe most importantly, proof that Canada belongs on this stage. Today, we'll break down the loss to Morocco. Colin Miller joins us one more time during this World Cup, and we'll look ahead to what's next for the Vancouver Whitecaps. And in the beautiful game, we visit Sts'ailes, where generations have kept soccer tradition alive. Let's get into it. First up, 5 things we learned from the loss to Morocco. Number 1, the margin is smaller than ever. The encouraging thing, Canada didn't look overwhelmed. For long stretches, they matched Morocco, even edged the first half. The difference wasn't talent, it was execution. Against the very best, one missed chance, one defensive lapse can decide everything. Canada, though, is getting closer. Number 2, you have to take your moments. Taniela Osei has the chance in the first half, the glorious opportunity to give Canada a 1-0 lead. Then in the second, Morocco scores from a set piece. That is tournament football. You don't always get those opportunities. The elite teams, the ones advancing at this World Cup, are just more clinical. Number 3, depth still matters. Imagine this tournament with a healthy Alphonso Davies, a healthy Ismail Kone, Marcelo Flores available, Moise Bombito fully fit. Every country deals with injuries, of course. The difference is the top nations have more players ready to step in. Canada is building that depth. We're just not quite there yet. Number 4, Jesse Marsch has changed the expectation. 1 year ago, getting out of the group would have felt like a dream. Now, losing in the round of 16 feels disappointing. That's progress. Nobody is celebrating the defeat. They're disappointed because expectations have now changed, and that's what good teams do. Number 5, this has to be the start. The tournament wasn't about the destination, it was the launch pad. Now comes the hard part. Keeping fans engaged, developing more players, building better pathways, making sure the next generation starts where this tournament finished. All right, one person who's seen just how far Canadian soccer has come and how much further it can still go. It is Colin Miller joining us once again. Thanks so much for doing this, Colin.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Great to be back, Asa. It's been an exciting run for sure for us.
It really has been. So let's talk about the whole thing, the big picture. Canada getting its first win at this World Cup, at a men's World Cup, getting out of the group stage for the first time, getting a knockout round win. What are your thoughts of Canada's performance overall at this 2026 World Cup?
Yeah, so many firsts, weren't there? Which is exciting in itself. And even, football aside, Asa, even the way the country embraced the team, throughout from shore to shore was absolutely fantastic. I mean, everywhere we went, we were speaking about football. I'm sure you were the same. And I think that the team, the overall perception is one that is very, very positive.
Yeah.
And it's how do we build on that? I've done a few interviews about how we build on this sort of thing. The little stickler, if there's one in my mind, is that the top 2 teams we played against, Switzerland and Morocco, we lost against them.
Mhm.
And I actually think Morocco was an unfair reflection on the game itself. Canada, for me, in the first half in particular, were the team on the ascendancy. And the game against Switzerland, I thought we huffed and puffed, and it wasn't till the tail end where we showed that real belief that we could cause Switzerland a bit of problems. But the other games, without being complacent here or disrespectful, those were games that the Bosnia game we get a draw,
Yeah.
and it's a positive start. People thought we should have blown them out of the water. No, that's never going to happen against a team that's very very difficult to beat, Asa. So, but then after that, I thought the team gained in a lot of confidence and a lot of
Yeah.
belief, and there were some really really strong performances. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. But overall, I think it's been a very, very positive time for the
Yeah.
national team at the World Cup. I think it's been really positive. Even going down south to Los Angeles to win a game away from home, have so
Hmm.
many Canadians go down south to support the team is incredibly positive. People from back east flying to LA, people as we know from the West Coast flying down, and it was a sea of red and white, to be honest with you, which was great to see.
Yeah, and then the unfortunate exit. You mentioned, you touched on the performance. 3-0 result, though, 3-0 loss at the hands of Morocco, and a situation where I thought they came out flying and were the better side in the first half. What changed in the second half, and how would you assess Jesse Marsch's moves, tactics, perhaps, in the second half of that game against Morocco?
I thought Morocco must have got a bit of the belt at halftime, to be honest with you, Asa. But take nothing away from Jesse Marsh's team in the first half because they did everything that we spoke about. We had to press them, we had to get after them, we had to knock any rhythm out of them as early as possible and continue that for sure. The worst thing that happened was the halftime break.
Hmm.
Normally, we say the advertisement break was because we've seen so many teams play
Yeah.
poorly after the advertisement break go and come back after that and be very positive. I thought Canada played really well consistently for that first 45 minutes. I thought tactically in the second half, first of all, Morocco scored within the first 5 minutes,
Hmm.
which knocks things for six for sure, because there were so many good things that the lads did in the first half. You're just hoping they can replicate that in the second half and continue the press, continue that. But all of a sudden, we've given away a goal and very early in the second half. And as I said, that knocks the rhythm out of the team. And now you're starting to chase things a little bit. And I thought Morocco were ruthless on the counter attack and really exposed any deficiencies. I thought the first goal, it was a shame because, young Luke Diffuser
Diffusion.
was gave away a needless free kick, kind of
Hmm.
clumsy challenge that led to the first goal. I think that's a big learning curve for him because I think he's had an excellent World Cup.
Yeah.
I really do. And again, you're looking at the future of the country, and Luke is going to be one of those
Hmm.
guys that's going to be the basis of alongside Bombito, who I thought was
Yeah.
terrific as well. So I thought the goal we gave away was an unnecessary free kick early on, and then it comes from the free kick. But after that, I thought we kind of huffed and puffed, but Morocco showed their quality. And again, we're not speaking about some team that's rated, with the greatest respect, 110th. You're talking a team that was rated sixth in the world, Asa, and AFCON champions and so on and so forth. So these are no mugs. These are good football players who just, I guess, smelt blood in that second half and then went for it. And
Yeah.
but it's a big learning thing for us. We had chances in the first half, and I said during the time I was watching here with the family that we have to score. We have to score
Yeah.
when we're having these chances, and we had a couple of good chances as well. So, but disappointing result. But I thought the scoreline really flattered Morocco. I didn't think
Yeah.
Canada,
I agree.
you know.
You mentioned some things we could have learned, Canada could have learned from this experience. How would you like to, I guess, apply the learnings and the knowledge gained from this to improve? Because you see, there is still a gap between Switzerland, Morocco, and Canada. Injuries play a part in this as well. I think it's a different story, maybe with Alfonso Davies, Ismail Kone, Marcelo Flores, maybe a fully healthy Bombito as well. But how do you bridge that gap? What needs to happen for Canada soccer going forward here?
Well, you certainly touched on that. If you don't have some of your best players available, we don't have that depth of
Yeah.
squad yet. And that's again with the greatest respect to the lads that were not 1 to 11, if you like, Asa. So, but we need to get those guys into first team more regular in really good environments, whether that's the CPL, MLS, or anywhere in Europe or anywhere in the world where the guys are playing, because you listed off four players there that potentially could have started. Certainly
Yeah.
three out of the four, you're talking about starters as well. So you take that out of the squad. Now you're scrambling a little bit, a little bit. There's and if you can keep that development growing and the mindset, the level of player. It's a famous line that Sir Alex Ferguson used when he was a manager at Manchester United. A manager will accept what he's going to accept or a coach is going to accept. So everything from grassroots all the way through, those standards have to be raised, myself included as the TD
Hmm.
of the Abbotsford Soccer Association. We have to continue to raise the bar, continue to put standards on players, boys and girls, all the way through, as well as our coaches.
Yeah.
Continue to do that, Asa. If we do that, then there's a mindset shift. There's the US, for, as an example, there's an expectation that they're going to win, that they genuinely believe that they're going to do
Hmm.
that. Canada showed that a little bit in this World Cup, which was great to be seen. But with those two games, the Switzerland and the Morocco game, yes, you're playing against very, very good football players who are,
Yeah.
for the most part, all playing in very, very good leagues throughout the world.
You mentioned the grassroots push at the moment for Canada to really continue to grow here as a soccer nation. We just learned that Jesse Marsch will be involved with the Olympic team, the U20 team. What do you make of that? Yeah, as a coach, as a former coach for yourself, being involved basically in some of the youth teams here for Canada as well.
I think it's massive, Asa,
Yeah,
because there's continuity now. He will come in and he will, whether Jesse's running the show at this particular time, Asa, or he's going to be a fly in the wall or assisting someone, maybe a younger coach who wants to gain that sort of experience as well. I just think they're now going to understand those standards at that younger level.
yeah,
If you want to get into Jesse's first team, you want to get into that environment, guys, this is what we're doing here now. You have to get to this level before you're going to be there. So I think that
yeah.
continuity is a good thing. So the word is coming from the top. I know the top guys getting involved in the groups below that. I think it's a real good conveyor belt system.
I think it's good as well when you think about what he's done with this program here in Canada, just getting eyeballs, gaining interest, even the things that he says before and after you, whether or not you agree with it, it's interesting and it's exciting. And I think having him involved with the U20 program and the Olympic program here just kind of adds eyeballs to it too. My eyebrows are raised as well when I
Yeah.
read the news, and I think it's gotten a little bit more interesting even for me
Well, it shows you, like he doesn't live in Canada. He lives in Europe, if I'm not
in
mistaken.
Italy. Yeah,
Italy, yes. And I think what it shows here that he's in for the long haul.
yeah,
If he's starting to get involved in groups below the first team, then it shows you he wants to stamp his authority on what's going on within the country. He wants to stamp his authority with those national teams below the first team, as I use as the example. I think it's a very, very healthy situation for Canada.
Yeah, and switching gears a little bit here, the Whitecaps have had a healthy situation for the last couple of years. You and I have the privilege of calling these games, and they are returning to action here midweek match as the Canadian Championship gets underway here for the Vancouver Whitecaps at Swangard Wednesday night against Cavalry. Should be a great occasion. How excited are you to get the Whitecaps going again and start covering these games once again?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited, Asa. Unfortunately, I'm going to be away in Italy for 2 weeks on holiday, so I'll miss the first three games.
I'm
I'll
sure
be
you'll
in
be
the
fine
US.
and enjoy it there. Yeah.
I'll definitely find it for sure, pal, to keep up to date with it. But I think playing Cavalry on Wednesday night in Swangard, there's a bit of romance there as well because so much history of the Whitecaps was based out of Swangard Stadium. And I'm sure the place will be packed as usual with Whitecap supporters. Maybe a few people have come in from Calgary. Tommy Wheeldon Jr., the manager of Cavalry, deserves a great deal of
Yeah.
credit for what he's done. I've actually spoken to a few people that live in Calgary and I say, what does cavalry mean within the soccer landscape there? And they say, oh, they're very big part of the community. People are well aware of cavalry in the city, and I think that's massive that the exposure is there. So delighted for what's happening with Tommy Wheeldon
Well,
Jr.
he sort of built that Foothills
He did, yes.
program as well, which I know has a long, rich history as well in Calgary.
Yes, and he has one of my ex-players at FC Edmonton, Nick Ledgerwood,
Hmm.
terrific player for Canada and national team program for many, many years. Nick had a great career in Germany as well. So Nick's is one of his assistants, and so it's no surprise that they're
Yeah.
consistently doing very well. The Whitecaps, they'll be chomping at the bit to get going as well. Everybody will be. I mean, the problem, if there is going to be a problem, is the fact that Cavalry have been consistently playing. You know, the CPL has kept going as the World Cup is going. So the Whitecaps have maybe had to play closed door games and just trying to get Jesper Sorensen's guys back up to speed. So the Whitecaps may be a little bit rusty, Asa, for the first 10, 15 minutes just to get into that rhythm again. But I'm sure once the guys get going, they'll be guns a-blazing here.
Yeah, we won't have any rust when we get on the radio again, will we?
Absolutely not. You're kidding. There's plenty of WD-40 used in these old joints
That's
here, Asa.
right. Get well lubricated. All right. Have a great trip, Colin. Thanks so much for doing this once again.
Yeah, my pleasure. Looking forward to the trip and looking forward to getting back.
Love it. Colin Miller, color commentator for the Vancouver Whitecaps on 7:30 CKNW. One of the best things this World Cup has reminded us of is that Canadian soccer didn't suddenly appear this summer. It was built over generations, sometimes in big cities, sometimes in small communities. This week's beautiful game takes us to Sts'ailes, a place where soccer has been woven into community life for decades. Introducing Terry Felix, the Pakenham Cup, the all-native tournaments, generations of soccer, the importance of passing traditions forward.
I don't even remember when I started. I just remember playing. I don't know.
Most kids in Sts'ailes would share a similar story, inheriting a passion for the game built over generations by spending countless hours playing in the sun.
We love to see the kids outside, right? Everybody's always connected to a screen, even us as adults. So it's nice to have a place for them to gather in a positive way and to be able to express themselves through sport. We partnered with Hope and Health 2 years ago to bring this to life, and we honored Terry Felix, who's from here in Sts'ailes, with his number 15 up on the entryways.
The soccer story of Terry Felix starts in Sts'ailes, from running the hills to making the Canadian Olympic team, playing for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and then the men's national team. Now his story and teachings continue to inspire the next generation in the community.
It's meant a lot to me, and he basically started my soccer career. He taught me like how to dribble and shoot and like all the basics for a starter.
Whenever he comes and talks to me or any of the kids, it's just so inspiring hearing his journey and how he's the only ever native to this day to ever play professional and on the national team.
I hope that one of them soon will make it to that level. And I think that's a big part, knowing that you can inspire them to do that.
Really motivating when he says he wants to see more natives like get that high level. It's like, because I noticed even when I play out in Surrey and Langley and all that, there's not many other natives.
Following in the footsteps of Terry Felix means competing in the same all-native tournaments that helped shape his game.
At one point, our community was so big into soccer that we had 5 teams traveling to tournaments at a time. And we even played outside of the native circuit in the early days of the Pakenham Cup. The Sts'ailes Sasquatch actually won. And they're one of the first and founding members of the Pakenham Cup in BC.
That Pakenham Cup winning team etched its name on the oldest soccer trophy in BC history and helped pave the way for generations of players to follow.
I think it's like a part of my whole life. Like, I don't know what I'd be without it, honestly.
Stories like this remind us World Cups don't create soccer communities. They shine a light on the ones that have always been there. All right, let's look ahead now. The World Cup leaves Vancouver, but soccer certainly doesn't. The Whitecaps now have a real opportunity. Thousands of Canadians experiencing BC plays during the World Cup. Some enjoying the sport for the first time. The challenge now is turning World Cup fans into Whitecaps fans. Vancouver opens its Canadian Championship quarterfinal against Cavalry on Wednesday, chasing a 5th straight Voyageurs Cup. And perhaps even more exciting for Whitecaps fans, Ryan Gauld is back, and he's expected to get some minutes on the grass at BC Place. Can't wait for that. The Whitecaps captain has been one of the most influential players for this team when he's healthy. That's the key point, though. When he's healthy, he hasn't been healthy in over a year, fully healthy, that is. Getting him back for the second half of the season couldn't come at a better time. So if you found this channel because of Canada's World Cup run, stick around. We'll continue following the Whitecaps, the Vancouver Rise as well, Canada's national teams, and the stories shaping the game here in BC. All right, we're into stoppage time. When Canada walked off the field in Houston, there wasn't much celebrating. There shouldn't have been. The players believed they could keep going. That's what made this team different. But after a few days, I think we'll remember this tournament for what it really was. Not the match against Morocco. We'll remember it as a tournament where Canada stopped hoping it belonged and started expecting it did. That's the biggest difference here. If Canada soccer or Canadian soccer keeps building on what's happened over the last month, it won't be long before round of 16 exits feel like an underachievement instead of history. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for listening to Village Matchday. I'm Asa Raymond. Whether you're playing, coaching, volunteering, or cheering from the sidelines, thanks for being a part of the game. Support your local club. We'll see you next time.